Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going behind the scenes into the world of AI red teaming. Now, if you haven't heard of that, well, think of ethical hacking, but for AI systems. We're going to learn all about how OpenAI is using humans and AI to make their models safer. And where'd we get this info? Straight from the source. 2 research papers and a white paper from OpenAI themselves. I've got a feeling this one is going to be pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. You're going to hear
Yeah.
about how GPT-4 can encrypt and decrypt, which actually surprised OpenAI. We'll also look at how red teamers found a way to make DALL-E 2 generate NSFW content, even with all the safety features in place.
So before we get into all that, can you give us like a red teaming 101? Like, why should I care as just like a normal person who uses AI sometimes?
Yeah. So OpenAI has like 4 main goals
Yeah.
for red teaming that are really important for everyone. The first one is finding unexpected risks that pop up as these models get more and more capable. Like, say, GPT-4 could mimic anyone's voice perfectly. That's something you'd want to know about before it actually happens.
Right, yeah.
Uh,
That's scary.
Exactly. The second goal is to stress test the safety measures, like we were just talking about DALL-E 2 and the NSFW content. That's an example of red teamers finding a way around the safety measures, which is super important, so OpenAI can improve them.
Right, so being proactive rather than reactive. What about the other 2 goals?
So the third one is to bring in experts from different fields, because obviously AI is being used for more and more things. So they need to make sure the models are safe, no matter what they're being used for. Like, for example, scientists helped test one of OpenAI's models for use in biology, which obviously has some really high stakes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and the 4th one?
The fourth one is all about independent assessment, basically getting fresh eyes to look at the models, to make sure OpenAI isn't just grading their own homework. This builds trust and transparency.
So it's not just about OpenAI saying, trust us, we're the good guys. They're actually getting outside opinions,
Yeah,
which is good.
exactly. It's like, would you trust a doctor
Mm-hmm.
who diagnosed themselves? Probably not, right?
Definitely not. I mean, I don't even trust myself to figure out what's wrong with me half the time. But anyway, so we've got these 4 goals. And OpenAI uses 2 types of red teaming to actually achieve those goals. We've got human red teaming, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. But then there's also automated red teaming, which sounds kind of crazy, like AI fighting AI.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. Basically, they use AI to find problems with other AI, which is a whole new area of research that could really change the game.
Yeah, my mind is kind of blown right now. But let's get back to human red teaming for a sec. You mentioned that it's a lot more structured than just throwing random things at the model. Can you walk me through that a bit?
Yeah, for sure. It all starts with defining the scope. Like, what specifically are they looking for? They do this through something called threat modeling, where they look at what the model is capable of and how it could potentially be misused. And then they try to find those high-risk areas.
So it's strategic. They're not just shooting in the dark. But how do they decide who gets to be on these red teams?
Well, they really try to get a diverse group of people with different backgrounds and expertise. Like, for example, when they were testing DALL-E 3, they brought in people who are experts in misinformation and bias, because that's super relevant for a model that creates images.
Right. You need all those different perspectives to really catch everything. So we've got the scope and we've got the team. What's next?
Well, next they have to decide what level of access to give the red teamers. Sometimes they'll give them access to a version of the model with no safety features turned on.
Wait, really? Why would they do that?
It's like taking the training wheels off a bike so they can see how the model behaves without any restrictions and test how effective the safety measures really are.
Well, that's actually really smart. So they're basically trying to break it.
Yeah, basically. They're trying to find the weaknesses
Yeah.
before someone else does.
Okay. So what else is important for effective red teaming?
Well, you have to give the red teamers clear instructions and the right tools to do their job. OpenAI makes sure they know exactly what they're looking for and how to report their findings. They also provide different interfaces for testing, like some for programmatic testing, and others that are more user-friendly.
So it's like giving them a map and
Yeah.
the right equipment to explore this uncharted AI territory. Okay, and what about all the findings? And you must find a ton of stuff.
Yeah, they do. And documenting everything is super important. They have to record all the prompts they used and the model's responses and any risks they identify, so OpenAI can actually fix the problems.
Right. It's not enough to just find the problems. You have to actually learn from them. And that's where good documentation comes in.
Okay, but now I want to get back to that mind-blowing concept we talked about earlier, automated red teaming. So how are they actually using AI to find flaws in other AI?
Well, it's still a pretty new field, But they're using some really sophisticated techniques. It's like training a digital detective to sniff out the bad stuff. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. One of the things they're doing is using AI to come up with specific attack goals, instead of just throwing random inputs at the model,
So they're like,
giving the AI red teamer a mission.
yeah, exactly. Like, go find this specific vulnerability.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and they also train these AI red teamers by rewarding them when they achieve their goals. Like, say, if the AI red teamer can get the model to give a dangerous response, it gets a reward.
It's like training a dog.
Yeah, basically.
It's set with AI.
Yeah, and they also use something called multi-step reinforcement learning, which basically means the AI red teamers are constantly learning and getting better at their jobs.
So the AI is literally learning how to be a better AI red teamer.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's
Well,
like
yeah.
the future is happening right now.
I know, right? It's amazing and terrifying at the same time. But as cool as all this is, I'm guessing there are also some limitations to what AI red teaming can do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
For one thing, these models are constantly being updated, so what works today might not work tomorrow.
So it's like a moving target.
Exactly.
And what about the ethical consideration?
Oh, yeah. There are definitely some ethical challenges. Like, for example, red teamers might have to expose themselves to some pretty harmful content in order to test the models.
That makes sense.
And there's also the risk that by doing red teaming, they could actually give bad actors ideas for how to exploit the models.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, basically. You have to be really careful about how you do this research.
And what about the red teamers themselves?
Yeah, there's also the potential for conflict of interest because they have early access to these really powerful AI models, which they could potentially use for their own benefit.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it is. But it's really important work that needs to be done.
Okay, so we've talked about how OpenAI uses human red teaming and the potential of automated red teaming. But red teaming alone isn't enough to make sure AI is safe and beneficial right now.
Not at all. It's just one piece of the puzzle. OpenAI is also investing heavily in something called alignment research, which we'll talk about in the next part of our deep dive.
Alignment research, that sounds intriguing. I'm ready to dive into that, but we'll have to save it for next time. Thanks for listening, everybody. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of AI red teaming.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
So last time, we talked about how OpenAI is using both humans and AI to find and fix problems with their models.
Right.
Like those red teamers who found a way to get DALL-E 2 to generate NSFW content, even with all the safeguards in place.
Yeah, that was a pretty clever example of how red teaming can help improve AI safety.
But we also talked about how red teaming alone isn't enough.
Exactly. It's just the first step.
So what comes next?
Well, OpenAI is also doing a lot of research on something called alignment.
Alignment. What is that?
It's basically about making sure AI systems are aligned with human values.
Okay, so not just preventing bad things from happening?
Right. It's more about making sure AI is actually beneficial and doing what we want it to do.
So it's like giving AI a moral compass.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But how do you actually do that?
Well, one way is to use human feedback to train the models.
Like how we talked about, rewarding AI red teamers for finding vulnerabilities.
Yeah, kind of. But instead of rewarding them for finding flaws, we reward them for being helpful and harmless.
So it's like training a dog.
Exactly.
You reward good behavior and discourage bad behavior.
And another important aspect of alignment research is interpretability.
Interpretability.
It's about understanding how these AI models actually work, like what's going on inside the black box.
So we can see how they're making decisions.
Exactly.
And make sure those decisions are aligned with our goals.
Right.
But how do we actually put all this research into practice?
Well, OpenAI is really big on collaboration. They're working with other researchers and policymakers and even the public to develop best practices for AI safety.
So it's not just OpenAI working in isolation.
No, definitely not. It's a global effort.
And they're also trying to be transparent.
Yeah, they want to make sure everyone understands what they're doing and why.
Which is important because this technology is going to affect all of us.
Exactly. One of the papers we read for this deep dive actually asked a really interesting question.
Oh, what was that?
As AI gets more powerful, what role do you think the public should play in shaping how these systems are tested and deployed?
That is a good question. Because it's not just a technological issue.
Right. It's a societal issue.
So we all need to be involved.
Yeah, I think public education is really important. People need to understand what AI is and how it works, and what the potential benefits and risks are.
So they can make informed decisions and
Exactly.
participate in these important conversations.
We also need to create ways for the public to give feedback, like citizen review boards or something like that.
So we can make sure that AI development is guided by a wide range of perspectives.
Okay.
It's not just up to the expert.
Right. We all need to work together.
So we've talked about red teaming and alignment research and the importance of collaboration and transparency. But even with all of that, I'm sure some people are still worried about the potential dangers of AI.
Yeah, I understand that. It's a powerful technology, and it's natural to be cautious.
But I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool.
Exactly.
It's up to us to use it responsibly.
And ethically.
So we need to be vigilant
And keep asking tough questions.
and challenging assumptions
And pushing for greater transparency.
and accountability.
But let's not forget about all the potential benefits of AI.
Right. We can't let fear hold us back from progress.
OpenAI is doing some amazing things with AI in healthcare and education.
And they're working on so many other applications.
That could really make a difference.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Definitely not. AI has the potential to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges
But we need to be careful.
and make sure it's used for good.
Which brings us back to everything we've been talking about. Red teaming, alignment research, collaboration, transparency. It's all connected.
It is.
It's all part of making sure AI is safe and beneficial.
And that's what OpenAI is all about.
So they're not just building technology.
They're trying to build a better world.
And they're inviting everyone
Yeah.
to join them on that journey.
Which is pretty cool.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of technical stuff. But what about the human factor? Like, what role does human judgment play in all of this?
Oh, that's a great question. And it's something OpenAI takes very seriously.
Because even with all these safeguards, AI systems are still created by humans.
Right. And trained on data created by humans.
The human oversight is essential.
Absolutely. OpenAI has human oversight built into every stage of the development process.
Can you give me some examples?
Sure. Like at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Humans are involved in designing the models
And choosing the data they're trained on.
and setting the initial parameters.
So they're shaping the AI's personality.
In a way. And then throughout the training process, human experts are monitoring the model's progress.
Looking for any signs of bias
Our errors?
or unexpected behavior.
Exactly.
So it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No, definitely not. And even after a model is deployed, human oversight continues.
They're constantly monitoring how it performs.
And analyzing user feedback.
And intervening if necessary.
Right.
So it's a continuous process.
With humans in the loop.
Because human judgment is so important.
It is.
Especially when it comes to those ethical dilemmas.
That AI can't solve on its own.
So even in the age of AI, human wisdom and discernment are more important than ever.
I completely agree.
And OpenAI recognizes that.
They're committed to fostering a culture where human oversight is valued.
And seen as an essential part of responsible AI development.
Not an obstacle.
Exactly.
And this brings us to another important point.
What's that?
Diversity.
Diversity. How does that play into AI safety?
Well, having a diverse team of people working on AI development is really important. People from different backgrounds
And cultures
and perspectives.
can bring different insights to the table.
Exactly.
And help identify potential biases.
That might otherwise go unnoticed.
So it's about making sure that the AI we create reflects the diversity of humanity.
Right.
And OpenAI is really committed to diversity.
They are, both within their own organization.
And in the broader AI community.
And it's not just about representation.
Right. It's about creating a culture,
Where everyone feels comfortable
sharing your perspectives.
and challenging assumptions.
So it's a really holistic approach to AI safety.
It is.
It's not just about the technology
It's about the people
and the values
and the culture.
that guide its development.
OpenAI is setting a great example.
For the rest of the industry,
Hopefully others will follow their lead.
so that AI can truly benefit all of humanity.
I hope so too.
But with all this talk about safety, I'm curious, what about the potential benefits of AI?
Oh yeah. There's so many amazing things that AI can do.
Like what?
Well, we'll talk about that in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But for now, thanks for listening, everyone. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into AI red teaming and OpenAI safety measures.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. from the nitty-gritty of how they test their models to the bigger picture of aligning AI with human values and making sure it's used for good. But now I'm ready for some good news. Like, what is OpenAI actually doing to make a positive impact on the world?
Well, that's the exciting part. OpenAI isn't just building AI for technology's sake. They really want to make a difference. And one area where they're doing that is healthcare.
Okay.
Imagine AI systems that can analyze medical images better than any human doctor, helping to diagnose diseases earlier and personalize treatment plans.
Whoa, that sounds like science fiction.
I know, right? But it's already happening. OpenAI is working with hospitals and research institutions to develop AI tools for things like cancer screening and drug discovery.
So AI is like a partner in healthcare.
Exactly. And another area where AI is making a huge impact is education.
Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot about that.
Imagine AI tutors that can provide personalized instruction for every student.
That would be amazing.
It would. And OpenAI is developing tools that can do things like translate languages and create immersive learning environments and even assess student understanding in real time.
Wow. That could really change the game.
It could, but it's important to remember that AI is a tool. It can't replace human teachers.
Right. It's not about replacing humans.
It's about augmenting them.
Giving them superpowers.
Exactly.
So what other areas are they working on?
Oh, gosh. So many. Climate change, energy efficiency, scientific discovery, even creativity and art.
Whoa. It sounds like AI can do anything.
That's pretty amazing. But it's important to use it wisely.
And ethically.
Right.
Which is why all the stuff we talked about in this deep dive is so important.
It is. Red teaming, alignment research, human oversight, diversity, it all plays a role in making sure AI is a force for good.
And it sounds like OpenAI is really committed to that.
They are. They're not just building technology. They're trying to shape a better future.
And they're inviting all of us to be a part of that.
Which is a pretty powerful message.
It is. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of AI safety. And I'm feeling a lot more optimistic now than when we started.
Me too.
It's great to see that there are people out there who are taking this issue seriously.
And working hard to get it right.
Yeah, because the future of AI is ultimately up to us.
It is.
So let's make it a good one.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.